Hi, my name is Al Green. Not that one, but the struggling guy who was in the music industry for years trying to sell talent and songs to agents. The agents befriended me and taught me techniques that I want to pass on to you through my program, which is called You Can Talk, You Can Sell. Anyone who has ever taken this program has excelled in selling and either risen to the top of their company, their team, or the top of their field. It's called You Can Talk, You Can Sell, and you can get it right here. Don't let fear get in the way. Fear is the one thing you don't want to be in your way. And yet, most salespeople who fail do it because they actually have a built-in fear. Guess what? The top salespeople do too. The top guest speakers in the world get a little bit of stage fright before they go out and give a great speech. Everybody experiences this. You've heard the term, no doubt. Fear is the word F.E.A.R, false evidence appearing real. Well, fear is just nothing more than an emotion, and you're talking yourself into it. In the course, in the workshop, we talk about how to get yourself out of fear. What gets you out of fear is by action. If I were to tell you today, the next person you call on is going to buy from you, would you be afraid to go knock on that door or to go make that appointment and see that person? Would you be afraid to make the conversation and then the presentation? Believe it or not, there's a lot of people that are. They're literally afraid. They're literally afraid. They're afraid to ask for the order. They're afraid to create the close. We have ways of segueing conversation into closing. That's one of the things you're going to learn in the workshop. But bottom line is this, is that fear is something we all go through. Everybody who's ever been successful in sales has gone through a period of time where they were hesitant and they had fear. We have natural apprehension. We don't want to feel like we're bothering people. We knock on the door at supper time and we hope they're not going to come to the door. Wow, we're off the hook. We go to meet an appointment and the guy didn't show up for work that day. Great, we're off the hook. We don't have to deal. That's just something we talk ourselves into. We talk ourselves into a lot of things. We talk ourselves into success as much as we talk ourselves into fear. So why should you be fearful? Instead, why don't you take the energy to talk yourself into success? Talk yourself into being the person who is going to shine because of your attitude and fear nothing. Nobody can harm you just because you want to talk to them and present to them. If you get them in a conversation, you shouldn't be fearful of developing the conversation from talking about them to slowly working your presentation in and then very slowly asking them questions about it. And then if they are backing off because they say, you know what, I don't have the money right now, see me in 2 weeks, there's ways of handling that too. Or I got to talk to my wife, or this is tax season. In tax season, boy, nobody wants to spend any money, especially companies. Okay, how do you get over that? Not a problem. There are people that know how to overcome this. You could be exactly like those people because they use techniques and they finesse the conversation, and that's something you can learn how to do, is finesse the conversation so that you don't have to be in any way apprehensive. Apprehension and timidness is what keeps people from reaching the top. The famous sales trainer Zig Ziglar said, timid salesmen raise skinny kids. Very funny. We all have to want to make money, and we all want to reach and improve our bottom line. We want to add to it 1 digit at a time, so we go from 5 figures to 6 figures to 7 figures. If you know how to do it and you have the marketplace to do so, fear is not your problem. It's not your fault if you go to call on a customer and you feel fearful. That's just a human emotion. But be willing to be strong enough to talk yourself out of it. If it means putting money in your pocket, what do you care? What do you care if a person says no? If I said to you, the next 6 people you talk to are going to say no, would you be afraid to talk to them? Or would you look at it this way? You know what? Maybe I could use that as a learning experience, because when we do not succeed, we learn from whatever that dynamic is. We learn from our failures, but they're not really failures. So don't blame yourself. Don't beat yourself up. If you're fearful, you're just like all the rest of us. At one time or another, we feel apprehension, we feel fearful. Are we going to do it? The most interesting part of this, and I do mean this, is when you are successful and you walk away from that going, dang, I walked into that feeling fearful, but you did it anyway. And you walk out with an order or a customer. Now that's an amazing feeling, because believe it or not, your emotion rises more when you're afraid than when you win that sale. For some reason, when you win that sale, you take it in stride and act like, yeah, that's the way things are supposed to go. But when you're fearful, it's like, oh my God, what am I doing? And then you wonder why you're in sales. You start doing all this self-doubt. You're just playing a game with your mind. That's all. Fear is playing a game with your mind. Don't go there. Go to the customer. Take the chance. If you still have a job, if your boss says to you, look, next sale you make, if you don't get it, you're fired. Okay, fine. That's going to put you at a place where you're ill at ease. But if every time you go out there you do make a sale, try to make at least one sale a day, two a day, build it up every day. You're going to learn over time what it is to hear people say no and what it is to hear people say yes. I know, for me, I absolutely went out there fearless. Why? Because I really didn't care if the person said no. There's a reason for that too. I'll cover that in another lesson. But when you are in sales, it's just like being public speaking. In public speaking, you might have some fear, but don't be afraid to fail, because not everybody's going to buy. It's just like when you buy a lottery ticket and you don't win. Have you failed? No, it's got nothing to do with that. You didn't fail. You bought the ticket. That gave you a shot at winning. And if anything, there's a million other people, 12 million, 27 million people besides you that bought that ticket and they guessed numbers. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It just didn't work out that you didn't pick the numbers that they picked. Look at it this way. When you play a lottery like that, you pick your numbers, then they pick theirs. Let's see, maybe that could put the odds in their favor, right? Okay, well, it doesn't mean you failed, okay? I'm going to guess a number in my head. You're going to guess a number in your head. You pick the number 3, and after you say your number, then I say, okay, 2, and I make sure you don't win. Okay, that doesn't mean you failed. It just means that I kind of was ahead of you there, okay? Your customers are not always ahead of you because they do not take training on how to avoid being sold to. It's a natural instinct for people to feel like they're being manipulated and they don't want to. So they reject you. Big deal. There's ways to work through that. And that's one of the things you'll learn in a good sales program like the workshop that I'm putting on. Keep at it and don't worry about it. Don't be afraid. Just keep out there and keep working.